Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is Sunday, the 11th of February 2024. Um, Today's video is a little bit vulgar. Well, to speak about the founder of this nonsense, uh, sometimes you have no choice but to put some vulgar language. Okay. Um, Today's video is for adults only. Normally, when you say adults only, it means 18 years and above. However, when you speak about the founder of this ideology and say for adults only, you should be 50 and above, over 50 years old, should be able to handle this nonsense. Okay. I tried hard to find a proper word because it's actually, he's using the F word a lot in his hadith and also in the Quran. It's in both. And okay, the title of the video, the da of the Prophet, the F da. I put different letters because I don't want YouTube to remove it, so it's a bit different, and I hope they don't remove it. Okay, let's start. It's actually embarrassing to speak about these things, but it is what it is. I'm very sorry. We have one of hadith. It says a woman came to the founder of Islam, and I'm going to say what she. This is actually in the poster that I found by accident on YouTube or on the internet, and as I was searching to kind of like find what the origin and everything. One moment, please. Okay. Of course, I found many people, many messages and letters and posts and videos from many Muslim people trying to justify that. So we're going to take it one step by step. I'm going to translate my own translation about this hadith, and also there is a Quranic verse concerning this situation. Both I will put in the description box. Okay. The people come in the beginning, those who narrated this situation, one next to the other, until they start to speak about what happened. A woman, her name is Khawla, daughter of Hakim, Khawla bint Hakim. One of those who offered herself to the Prophet, may the blessing of Allah be upon him. One of those. That means quite a few, we don't know how many. And these were not marriages. I know in the past, even in Africa, until this day, some Christian people and Jewish, there are Jewish in Africa, they marry more than one wife, but it's a marriage. Okay? But this woman is, many people try to justify and say that this is marriage. This is nonsense. It's not marriage, and we're going to talk about this. Okay? So she came to him and she offered herself as of I remember like when we were kids, and let's say I got a new bike. A friend of mine will ask me, can I take it for a spin? And that was in Egypt, and I'm very sure something like that is something similar to that here in America or in Europe, all over the world. Can I take your bike for a spin or go around the block or something to that effect? Yeah. But this woman is coming to the man who came as a mercy to mankind. And she practically told him, like the language used is like, do you want my service for tonight or an hour or a couple of weeks? Or she offered herself. Do you want me? In whatever manner you want. The problem, I mean, if honestly, if something like that happens to me, I will be disturbed that a woman comes to me to ask me to do something like that. I would think probably I'm not behaving in a respectable way that such a woman comes and suggests to me to do that with her. It will really disturb me. But I'm an average person. But this person here was not an average person. Okay? So let's continue. Then Aisha, okay, said, such woman doesn't have shame to ask a man to just give herself to a man like this without marriage, without witness, without ceremony and witnesses and so on and so forth. And let's stop here for a second and try to know. The woman who's talking here is Aisha. Let's speak about remind ourselves who this Aisha is. Aisha is the second wife of the founder of the ideology of Islam, whom she was 6 years old when he spoke to her father to marry her. It was an engagement. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the father who has a 6 years old and a 51 years old friend. Like if I had a child who's 6 years old, a daughter, and I get a friend of mine who is 51 years old and he asks me, I would like to marry, or suggest that he wants to marry my 6 years old. I may lose my temper with this guy. I may, bare minimum, I will kick him out of my house and I'll tell him, I do not want to see you ever again. This is the minimum. I could lose my temper, I could punch him, I could kick him. 6 years old and you are 51. And the mother of this 6 years old, she said no. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. That was the normal reaction, and it should be the reaction of the father of Aisha. But again, we're not talking about average people, normal people here. We are talking about very vulgar, low-level people. So what happened is the father of Aisha went to his wife and explained to her, this man, he inherited Khadija's money. The first wife died. He inherited, I didn't hear, but that he managed to change his wife's mind How? Today she said, no, my daughter cannot marry that old man. Next day she agreed. Why? I could see it. I mean, I wasn't there, but I could see it. He explained to her, he has money, and I know his vision. He's going to attack tribes and loot their money, and we'll have some. Your daughter will never experience hunger. Your daughter will be wealthy. We will receive benefits, material benefits. She agreed. What do we say about people like this who are really selling their daughter to be raped? These are very low level people. Not average person, average people. Okay? Aisha is coming out of this society, out of this family, that low level family. That low level Aisha, she heard what this woman asked, offering herself to who was then her husband, the founder of Islam, not to marry her. He had many wives. She could have said, I would like to marry you. No. And I know that the Muslim leaders now, there are so many videos trying to say, no, that she was suggesting marriage. No. We're going to talk about this. There is difference. You see, they try to do that because there is actually two words are used. Marriage, which is known to everybody in many different languages, which is a husband and a wife, they marry and they have a family and they produce children. And producing children is through sexual relationship between the husband and the wife. The wife conceives and give birth to a child. That is human. Actually, everything multiply through this relationship between male and female, or husband and wife. So, to say my daughter got married or my son got married, there is nothing wrong with that. However, after marriage, what happens? The husband and wife, they have to produce a family, to have children. It is not just mandatory, they must have sexual relationship together, so that the man can fertilize the egg of the woman, and then a child is created. That in that normal setting we said marriage. However, in Arabic there's also a different word, but that word is after you marry, is like to have sexual relationship. After you do the marriage ceremony, it is normal that you have sexual relationship. That is the word that you say when that union between husband and wife happens. But also it is the same word used when a man or a person, man or woman, commits fornication or adultery, practically having sex regardless whether you are married or not married. So if you are not married, you are committing adultery or fornication. So this woman, when she came to the founder of Islam, she didn't tell him, marry me. She said, F me, or I can give you myself today. Or for whatever length of time you want. Take me. Take me for a spin, Prophet of Allah. She didn't say marry me. And for Aisha, who is coming from that low level, to be shocked that there is even lower level than her. Furthermore, that to agree to this, if a man agrees to that, that is even lower, which the Prophet of Allah agreed to. He checked the product and you know what I mean? The product was good. His eyes will not deceive him. And then he did what he did. And that Aisha, she said something very profound. Let's see. And this actually came in Quran. And I'm going to put that also in the description box. She was saying, a woman doesn't have any shame to offer herself to a man. So the Prophet told her, you know, I'm the Prophet of Allah and I can do that. Allah is giving me permission. So Allah sent him a Quranic verse to allow him to do these things. So what did she say? I see that your God is following your desire. Allah is following your desire. Allah is responding to your desire. She knew that there is no God, there is no revelation, there is nothing. Her parents sold her to this guy. He's wealthy. She was enjoying the wealth, so she had to keep up. Either put up or get out, and you get nothing. And probably your father also will be expelled from the close circle. It was business. So she had to keep her mouth shut. But also she did what she wanted to do. There's another subject we'll open later. She had stayed one night when they went out invading in an invasion, looting. She stayed one night in the desert with one young man, Ibn al-Mu'attal. And they came back next day in the morning. Everybody knew what they were doing, including the Prophet of Allah. But he had to shut his mouth, because should he have divorced her, because many people, including his nephew, told him, divorce her. She was unfaithful. She was having sex with this man. She was giving herself. Should he have divorced her, it's an admission that she was a whore. Why would you marry a whore? That will make you in a terrible situation. Why would you, I mean, a person like that, this is a really low standard. Why do you marry from these people, these low standard? But again, birds of a feather flock together. So he accepted her. And after his death, because he prevented them all of his wives, all of them. He told them not to marry again, prevented them from getting married. When he died, Aisha was 18 or 19 years old. And she should not marry again because the Prophet of Allah told them all, none of you will get married again after me. So she used to find ways to get men in the house. And some people say, oh, she was teaching them the message of Allah. We'll talk about that later. Whether she was really teaching the message of Allah or they were teaching her something. Thank you very much. And by the way, for those who are trying hard to say that this is marriage and trying to justify, stop, because you are actually admitting your guilt more. You are saying that you are dumb by not understanding the obvious. Okay, thank you very much. We welcome your comments and we hope to hear from you. Bye.